a few seconds. Lots to talk about tonight. Lots to talk about tonight. It was actually kind of a good day, I'm going to say. I had a great time today. Um, I need to check my email and my other accounts more. Actually, I got an invite under the nonprofit for Juneteenth in my area. So I got to figure out a way to set up a table because I'm definitely going. Today was actually the last day to register. So I'm like, wow, okay. Got to check that other email account, my old email account more. But thank you for Studios of Inner Clarity for joining. I appreciate you. What we're talking about today is potential. Now, when what I'm starting to notice in this whole narcissism thing is there's always a freaking flip side. It really is. When you think about it, there's always that, like, someone, hey, stories of strangers, what's up? I have not seen you in a while. But yeah, potential is one of those words that actually sometimes it can actually mean a good thing. Okay, potential can actually mean something good when you think about it. Let's start with potential. This is the definition of it. Potential is actually one of humanity's greatest gifts. Potential is seeing possibility, seeing growth, seeing a future, believing people can improve, believing tomorrow can be better than today. I mean, that's the breakdown of potential. I think we kind of villainize it when we talk about the narcissistic dynamic because we're always saying, this person really, we find ourselves gambling on their potential, and it hurts us, it erodes us, it makes us sort of disappear because we're putting all of this hope in this person's potential. Now, potential is actually a good thing. I mean, seeing possibilities, I do this all the time. If it's like a crap day outside, and I'm starting that downward spiral, like, oh, it's crappy outside. I wanted to do this. It's summertime. I should be able to do this and stuff like that. Sometimes I'll just pull myself back and I say, you know what? I don't make the weather. It could clear up. And sometimes it does. There's nothing wrong with looking at stuff like that. Sometimes when you embark on a business, okay, that's based on potential. You're gambling on yourself. You're saying, hey, I can make this happen. I can make this work. Um, I mean, we can always go all the way back in time when we were trying to get our driver's license. That was based on potential. You didn't know how to drive. You didn't come out the womb knowing how to drive. That was you gambled on your potential. You could do it. Of course, you stayed consistent. You practiced. You read that little book that the DMV gives you until you got it down pat. But that was all potential. Because okay, you can't start a business without potential. You can't fall in love without potential. And nobody heals and nobody changes without potential. So, in a sense, that is a good thing. And let me ask, how many of you, okay, ever stayed in a difficult situation because you believe things could get better? That things could turn around. Almost like that thing, Annie, the sun will come out tomorrow. That's potential. And you stay the course. I know this for many empaths because I know that's me. I stay the course. Sometimes it gets super, super difficult. And I say, you know what? I'm just gonna ride it till the wheels fall off. And a lot of times I get it done. I get it done. When I first opened up this community, I had no idea what I was doing. I really didn't. I did a little bit of research. I asked a few questions, and there were parts that got hard. In fact, I'm still learning the system. There were a lot of parts that got hard. When I built my first course, do you know how many times I had to go back and just be like, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. And then finally, I had to say to myself, like, okay, you want to create this. Let's get the mind wrapped around it and let's go ahead and create it. That was all based on potential, belief in myself. You know, But here's the deal. This is where potential becomes dangerous. And it becomes dangerous when it replaces reality. See, that's that flip side of the coin that I was talking about earlier, you know. So this is the pivot. Potential is healthy when it exists alongside reality. That's the key word there, reality. Okay. It becomes dangerous when it replaces reality. Let me give you an example here. This is a healthy example of potential. I see their flaws and their strengths. Okay. Unhealthy is when you say to yourself, I only see who they would become. See, that's what I'm saying. Everything within narcissistic dynamics becomes warped, it becomes twisted. Okay. And the narcissist plays on this. Okay. Again, and I hate to keep on saying this over and over, but it's an important part to remember. Phase one of your situationship was so important to the narcissist. Okay. Because they needed you to always see that they had potential, that you would always hope that they would stay that person. If they deviated, then there was a good chance they would come back. I was in somebody's live yesterday and they were going back and forth about, different things that narcissists do. And I'm sitting up there watching them. Finally, I just chimed in and I was like, if you stop looking at them as functional, regular, non-disordered having people, then it won't bother you as much. Okay. It's almost like seeing a person that they can't walk for whatever reason. I'm not trying to throw darts at anybody. They can't walk for whatever reason. If they're at the corner, why would you sit up there and yell at them and say, why aren't you walking? The person is probably going to tell you one time, because I can't walk for whatever reason. Okay. You yelling at them, deciding because you believe that they should be able to walk, because you're looking around, you're saying, well, everybody else is walking, you should be able to walk. That's not reality. That's not reality. And that's what we do with the narcissist. We're constantly saying to ourselves, I deal with one, but I blocked her. Very good. That is a win. I love God. And thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. That is where we get trapped. And I talked about this last night, ego. We get trapped because we believe that, and due to the conditioning, the love bombing phase one, we believe that there's always a chance that they can come back to that person that never really existed. We hinge everything on that. We hinge everything on that. When we're in this situationship, what we do is we give them the grace that sometimes we give functional people. Oh, they're having a bad day. But don't you notice the pattern that every day is a bad day? How they're treating you. I don't know why it leads me back to the narcissistic person, but I'm in a cycle. Most people that are in the trauma bond are in a cycle. It is literally a cycle. You have to. This is what I do. This is why I built the community. This is why I create all of this stuff. Is because there is a way out. There is a way out. You're not stuck in Groundhog's Day. They are, but you're not. Okay, you just have to decide that you're ready to take that first step. Go look up in my bio. There's a link right there. Go take a look at that. I can guarantee you're going to find resources there that's going to help you figure this out and reclaim your identity. Okay. So when we look at what we're doing in this dynamic is we're taking out the reality portion of it. Okay, because this person is showing it again, as I love God says, it's a cycle. Okay, we keep on repeating this cycle in our head, even though all the evidence is showing us otherwise. Okay, and again, this comes from experience. I consider myself, like many of you, I consider myself a very logical person. I just like you, I consider myself very intelligent. But for some strange reason, I kept on looking at the potential that I saw in the beginning. And that literally was my downfall. Again, if phase one of the love bombing stage does not work, the narcissist cannot go any further. It's cut off. They're going to disappear into the sunset for you never to see them again because you're not going to be a good source of supply. You need to be entrapped in phase one because phase one does one very important thing. No matter how they act, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, you're going to give them grace inside your mind because you're looking back at that beginning couple of weeks or months. You're looking at that and you keep on saying, here comes the disrespect. Here comes the playing in your face. Here comes them going dark for hours. Here comes all of this stuff that you would never take from another human being. You would never take from another individual. However, from this person, you keep on feeling that they deserve another chance. You're not dealing with reality. You're dealing with your ego. Your ego is telling you that you can fix this. Even though all the proof, it's like you're walking into a courtroom with nothing and you expect to win the case. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I don't care what the charge is. You have no evidence, you have no proof. It's not going to happen. So what you need to do is you need to understand that potential should inform decisions. Reality should make decisions. I get it. Potential is as far as humanity is concerned, the base meaning of the word of potential is a good thing. Most of our lives have been based on potential. Those things that you thought you couldn't do, but deep down inside you knew that you could do, but you had no proof or evidence that you could do it. But you did a couple of things that the narcissist never does. You put in the work. You put in the work to make it happen, to make those goals into a reality, to make those very dreams into a reality. But for some strange reason, with this demon, we just can't get it right. We can't get it straight. They're doing everything but writing down on the chalkboard what they're doing to us. They're doing everything but that, but we're ignoring it time and time again. A few weeks ago, I had a live and a person was saying basically empaths are stupid for falling for this. No, you're not. You're not. I'm going to tell you you're not. Again, just like loving a person, you're doing the human thing or the thing that most good humans should do. You give people grace. You try to understand people. You kind of take yourself out of their situation and say, well, I don't know what they're going through. But with the narcissist, you know exactly what's happening to you. You know how you feel emotionally, and that's the most important part. Knowing how you feel. See, we've given that up. When we got trapped in this dynamic, we literally gave that up. We stopped caring about how this demon was making us feel. And then back to the front of the ranch, what is it all based on? Hope and potential. Nothing more, nothing less. You know, so so what I really want to say is never mortgage your present reality for a future that has never made a payment. What has this person showed you consistently? See, this is where I come outside of the realm of of basically trying to be that guy that's trying to mess up your relationship. What I'm asking you to ask yourself is, what has this person shown you consistently? Because that's your evidence. That's your evidence. See, intermittent reinforcement, that's a different thing. That's not consistency. In a sense, it's a pattern, but it's not consistency. As far as a relationship should feel, you should feel consistently in love, even if you have a spat, even if you have a disagreement, even if you bump heads on a certain subject, you should still feel loved. That should never be taken away. Love is not based on potential, love is based on actions. Love is based on reality because love makes you feel a certain way. After the love bombing stage, did you notice that that feeling of love that you got in the beginning seemed to just disappear overnight like it was a wisp of smoke? And staying in that relationship became more and more brutal. It became more and more taxing. It became more and more hurtful. And then once you see through the fog, once the mask starts to shatter, once it starts to crack, once you see the demon that lies behind that mask, the first question we ask ourselves is, why did I stay so long? But I have to tell you, you know the answer. Because you was gambling not on your potential. Because I get it, your potential has gotten you places. Your potential has shown you things. Your potential has done things. Your potential has led you to be of assistance. You weren't betting on your potential. You were betting on their potential with no evidence, with no foundation. The only thing that you were betting on was the vision that you saw in the beginning, which was the greatest Broadway play ever. When you look at a narcissistic relationship, there is a director someplace saying, I wish I could have orchestrated because it was done so perfectly down to the bitter ending. I love God says, but people saying she's not saying anything bad, but she's a narcissist. They trying to make me unblock that. You're probably dealing with flying monkeys. You know what? I'm going to tell you something. Uh, I love God, and this is really, really good piece of advice. No contact is the best thing ever. Just for the fact that this is the way I look at it. If I block anybody on social media, that is my business. That EULA agreement that I signed off and did the check mark on means that it's between me and that company, be it TikTok, be it FB, be it YT. That's between me and that company. So that gives me the right to block anyone that I wish to block. That's my choice. That's like somebody just walking over your shoulder and saying, let me see your email. No, I don't want you to see my email. That's mine. I signed an agreement with Google that says it's mine, not yours. So you're allowed to block people, especially, see, you're allowed to do anything that preserves your peace. And I'm going to assume I don't know you, I don't know them, I don't know the people that are talking to you. What difference does it make whether you block them or unblock them? Who gains from that? See, you have to remember the narcissist needs to keep track. They need to keep tabs on you. My narcissist is probably watching me right now. They need to keep tabs on you. They need to know that what they set out to do was actually completed, because if it's not completed, what does that do? You have to always remember narcissism is a shame-based disorder. Everything that they do is to keep that shame from rising up. It is a lifelong battle. So what happens is, if they didn't destroy you, if you are healing, and for yourself, not to put on a show, but for yourself. You're making yourself bigger, better, faster, stronger. You're making yourself into a positive individual. You are making yourself into a person that actually embraces peace. It has nothing to do with them. That causes a narcissistic injury because now that criterion of superiority that doesn't fit anymore. They can't walk around and tell themselves, I'm superior now. So you cause a narcissistic injury. However, if you go look at their social media, all you do is re-trigger the trauma bond. I'm going to tell you something. This to show you how devious narcissism is and how narcissists are literally demons. Okay? What if I told you that you creeping their social media is done on purpose? They want you to. They want the ability to put up things that they know will get under your skin. They want to have the ability to show off the new supply to make you feel a certain way. Remember, you never got closure from this person, and you never will. You never will get closure from this person. But yet and still, they're living their life. Why do you need to see that? What difference does it make? Go. We often forget if we took the time to escape that dynamic, if we took the time to escape that situationship, there's something that we tend to forget as survivors. And I was in that boat for a little while. You are no longer in a relationship with this person anymore. You're not. It's cut. It's done. It's over. Go on with your life, boo-boo. Enjoy yourself. I don't care. We're not in a relationship anymore. Once you start putting that very concept in your mind, I'm going to tell you something. Things start to shift. Things start to change. It's little simple things like that. When you feel triggered, when you feel the need to go look at their social media, when you feel a need to ask people how they're doing, when you say to yourself, I'm not in a relationship with this person anymore, so I don't really care. It shifts everything inside your mind. And that is the pathway to healing. Because it's telling you a couple of things. The first thing it's telling you is that you're no longer holding on to that potential anymore. You see no need for it. Well, if you can be better, go be better. I don't care. When you were with me, I deserved better. You weren't capable of giving me that. You weren't. So what do I care about what you're doing now? When you had to see, this is what survivors don't latch onto. When you had the opportunity to do better for me, while you were bending over backwards, jumping through hoops, walking tight ropes, walking on top of eggshells, in that relationship, they gave no effort towards saving it because it was never important to them. Again, the illusion. It was never important to them. So now that they're going, why would you think that they would change? To your benefit. Let's take everybody else out the world. To your benefit. Because you were the one that struggled through it. You were the one that was stressed the whole time you was there. You were the one walking on eggshells. You were the one dealing with the disrespect. You were the one dealing with the isolation. You were the one dealing with the sabotage to your very life. So why would you care what they're doing with somebody else? How does that help you? If you're serious about healing, how does that help you? So just let that sit on your mind for a second. See, we have gone through this whole situationship trying to fix this broken demon that had no intentions on being fixed, that had no intentions on being healed, whether for themselves or for you. Oh, thank you, Freebird. Thank you for joining. Thank you. But yeah, you did all of this for them. And how do you feel now? Tell me. How do you feel now? Oh, thank you, Freebird. I appreciate you. Thank you. That's beautiful. Thank you. That's what I think we forget when we're stuck in the trauma bond. And I don't say this to point fingers. Remember, I do what I do. I get on here because I know how horrifying it is to go through this. Yes, at the time it felt like ish. Yes. Yes, it does. So I understand this. My goal, my job, my purpose, my need to be of assistance is to pull people out of this. That's just the empath way. It was kind of the empath way when you stuck around trying to fix your narcissist. But now you kind of figure out that this disorder is kind of incurable because if you spent at least, I'm going to say 24 hours deep diving into this stuff, you kind of figured out by now that, yeah, you can't fix them. There's no therapist in the world that's going to fix them. There is nothing you can buy at CVS or Dwayne Reed that is going to fix them. There is no surgery that is going to fix them. So knowing that, don't you think it's time to fix yourself? Because that is literally what I had to decide. Am I going to keep on pouring my very soul into this demon? Literally into this demon. Am I going to continue to pour my soul into this person that is showing me by their very actions that they don't care about me? They only care about what they can get from me. And am I going to keep on pouring into this? Because this person, if you had a cardiac arrest incident in front of them, if there's nobody around to see it, they would walk right over you. Maybe ask you stupid questions while you clutch your chest. Are you all right? Is everything okay? I don't know. I don't know. And Freebird says, when we're deep in the trauma bond, the answer is always yes. But we need to get out of it. My people, when you were learning how to drive, remember when you looked at that book for the first time? Remember you looked at and I can't, the hell is this? I have no clue what this means. And you didn't think that you was going to get through it because that book alone, you got to get that book to get through that book to get your permit. So you're like, damn, what that? Do people really know what all of these signs mean? This thing on the road, what does that mean? I just thought it was yellow and it was supposed to be there. But you decided that you wanted it enough that you sat down and you figured it out. When you went to take your road test, and hopefully all of you passed the first time, I know some of you didn't. Okay. And if you didn't, did you just give up and say, I'm never going to drive? No. You went back in there. That word, that's what this is about, potential. You knew that you had the potential to do it. Healing kind of plays itself out in that very same dynamic. When you're in the trauma bond, it seems impossible. And due to their demonic psychic awareness, they know when you're starting to get through it. That's why you say off of their social media. But they know when you're starting to get through it, and then they'll send you that ish crazy text, or they'll try to call you, or they'll send a flying monkey if that's available to go ahead and ask you, like I Love God says, why don't you just unblock them? Oh, they know when you're getting it together. See, they can't have you get it together because what does that do? All the lies that they told about you during the smear campaign, that starts to unravel. People start looking at them like, but you said that they were unstable. Looks like they don't care about you. Looks like they're not too concerned. They're over there thriving. They're over there doing their thing. And the thing that they're doing has nothing to do with you. Like I said, I've been through 3 of these. So out of the 3, whoever sits up there and creeps myself and says they're talking about me, take that out your head. I'm talking about helping fellow empaths heal from the bad-ish craziness that I experienced. That's what it was that I experienced. And that's part of the problem. That's part of the whole reality thing. We experienced it. No matter what the abuse is, whether it's physical or mental, you experienced it. I don't care what your partner is telling you. You know how you felt. If it's mental abuse, you know how it made you feel. If it's physical abuse, you know how it made you feel. So why do you keep on rewriting the facts? Why? If you went to court and the judge, you found out that the judge just took a dislike to you for whatever reason, didn't like the cologne that you had on or the perfume that you had on, just took a dislike to you. And they said, I'll be right back. And they go in their chambers and they come out with a whole bunch of new paperwork with all the rewritten testimony and all the facts being skewed. How would you feel? You would be like, no, you're not going to do that to me. You went back there and you changed the facts. You made all of that stuff up. You're trying to trick me. Doesn't that sound like narcissistic abuse? Isn't that what they did through the whole relationship? The lies. Like you could ask them. I remember my first narcissist, I could literally ask her what she ate for breakfast. And she would think about it, and sometimes she would just lie. The evidence is sitting on the plate, but she would lie just to see if she could get away with it, just to see if she could distort the reality. That was just breakfast. What about life in general? This is where potential becomes dangerous. This is where potential becomes scary because you're holding on to something that has no factual basis. After the love bombing stage, I am going to tell you any potential that I saw in each narcissist that I had to deal with soon disappeared in the middle of the devaluation stage. I started to see, I was like, oh, you ain't shit. You made me think that you were just like me because that's important. We got to do the mirroring. You're not shit. You can't do anything. You'll never be able to do anything. And it's just words coming out of your mouth while in the background trying to sabotage what the hell I'm doing. Yeah, that's a whole different dynamic because you notice that too. The competition and the sabotage. Think about that for a second. You know, and I Love God says, what does it mean if narcissist person moves on from me to a new person? That's what they do. It's part of the cycle. I mean, I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's part of the cycle. They were never going to stay with you forever. They were going to stay with you for as long as you became useful. And in the background, they were trying to train other people to take your place. Sometimes right after the love bombing stage. A narcissistic relationship is not a regular relationship. The narcissist must, just due to their disorder, follow three stages. Love bombing, phase one, again, most important phase. The second phase being the devaluation stage, and then the third and final phase. Hey, what's up, Militia? The third phase is going to be the discard. It works the same every way. That's why I always tell people, why are you worried about the new supply? You know this song already. You already know this song. Unless there's different supplies. There's intermittent supplies. That's the person that they're just hanging around because they get validation from them. That person means nothing to them. They're waiting until they can find another empath because that's the gold rush right there. That's the eureka moment for them right there. They can find an empath because what do? We keep on holding on to hope and potential. So that's all the news. Everybody ends up the same, discarded. Everybody. There's no way around it. This is not me talking. Go look it up. She's keeping me until I unblock her or just to pull me in again. Listen. So let me help you out here. Like I said, follow link in my bio. This is again. There are so many different variants of the three-part play. Okay, so I can't give you an answer. It's not like we're doing a one-on-one coaching session. Like I actually know you, okay, or have a clear understanding of you. This is why I built the community, because the community offers a lot more than this. See, we can ask questions as long as I'm on. I'm going to answer them to the best of my ability, but it might not be exactly what you need. See, the community is built on giving you what you need at that time to help you figure it out. You know, um, well, narcissists. I love God. I mean, I'm going to tell you something, and I think this is your first time at one of my lives, but here's the reality of it. Narcissists hide in plain sight. Any place that power can be had, you will find narcissists hiding in the shadows. Okay, church is one of those places, religious institutions. There's a huge amount of power that can be gained. There's a huge amount of control, and it also protects their mask. When you look at, I think Wante said this, and one of my lives, you look at this person and whatever faith you belong in, oh, this is a person of God, this is a person of Allah, this is a person that really adheres to the teachings of Buddha, and you automatically think that this person is above normal, because not everybody does that. Not everybody lives in their faith, and you see this person. This, my good friend, is literally part of the mask, because they can hide in plain sight. Because how do you view this person? You have to remember, everything that the narcissist does out in public is to protect their mask. They need to be constantly validated to bolster the illusion of themselves that they have placed in their mind. Again, they don't have an identity. This is not me talking. Okay, this is actually research. Okay, so what happens is they need to constantly validate that the image of themselves that they hold in their mind is what other people are seeing. They always need to do that, because if they don't do it, what happens again? It's a shame-based disorder. The shame starts coming up. So when you do it, the other, I was talking about, now that I have the background up, now I see what it is. I just picked it randomly. The narcissistic relationship decoder. This last night when I launched this, I was talking about, this is straight kryptonite to the narcissist. This is what actually causes narcissistic injuries, because you have to remember the narcissist, okay, has a playbook. And part of that playbook or that script has you as a construct. Okay. I think that I just saw a video where um, whoever said it's called a snapshot. So that snapshot or that construct has a script. And every time you break out of character of what they have in their mind about you, it causes an injury, because it tells them, I'm not superior, I'm not entitled, I didn't view this person correctly. So that causes an injury. So that's where we see the rage outs. That's where we see the punishment, the isolation. I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to disappear. Whatever the case may be, they do this as a form to punish you. Okay. But here's the deal. Once you start setting boundaries and sticking to them, okay, once you start sticking to those boundaries, once you stop falling into the trap, because you have to remember, every time they contact you, they want a reaction out of you, because that reaction validates their false sense of self, because it tells them that you still care. Think about that. How batshit crazy is that? Because they can get a reaction out of you, they feel that you still care. When you stop giving the reaction, what you start doing is you start causing narcissistic injury, because they do that whole I can't compute, because you're acting out of character of the construct that they created in their mind. And now, since you're gone, how are they going to punish you? Send you another angry text? Call your phone a few times from a private number? What are they going to do? So you will find, I wish I could be a fly in the wall, you will find that they will rage out uncontrollably because you're causing an injury. It's like narcissists showing subtle cues on what they are. Yes, yes, that's what I'm saying. We've had all of the facts while we're dealing, with this whole thing of potential. We're getting the facts. Sometimes right after the love bombing stage, you know, early on, I saw the slight subtle gaslighting and manipulation, and in hindsight, looking back, now that I'm healed and I can look at those moments, I can say, oh wow, they were ramping it up because I catch them in a lie, I catch them in something, and then they, oh no, that's not what I meant. I'm crazy. I meant to say this, I meant to do this, I meant to, I really, this is what I really meant. This is a phrase that I heard often in the beginning. No, that's not what I meant. This is what I really meant, which is basically I caught them. But the narcissist, again, empaths practice love, kumbaya, and everybody have a peaceful life. Narcissists practice this their whole life. So it's just like the intermittent reinforcement. They know how much to give and how much to pull away. And the pull away becomes longer and longer and longer throughout the situationship because they are testing your boundaries. They're testing your limits. Where do we see this at? CIA interrogation. It's the same principle, it's the same concept. Give a little bit, make you feel like, hey, you can trust me, just to get the information out of you. And that's what the narcissist does. They just do it more intensely. And your red flags are gone at this stage. You're not paying attention because you're stuck on hope and potential. You're not paying attention to what they're doing. You're so busy jumping through hoops trying to get that person that you saw in the beginning back. And that is where we destroy ourselves. And again, hey, what's up, Godson? Thank you for joining. I appreciate it. Everybody's joined. Brenda Brown, I'm reading these as fast as I can. 5088. For I said Muslim, thank you for joining. I appreciate you guys. I definitely appreciate you guys. As you guys come along, as you can see, Narcastic is up in the house. Thank you for joining. Thank you. So yeah, when we look at potential, again, flip side of the coin, it's crazy how the narcissist can make everything dark. Your love, they made it something that you became ashamed of once you got out. And don't front, you were kind of ashamed and you felt guilt-ridden where you're banging on your own butt about, why did I love them? Why didn't I see this sooner? They turn potential into something dark, something demonic. Because potential, when used in the right way, used in the right manner, is actually a beautiful thing. You want to write a book and you've never written a book? That's all potential. That's you believing in your potential that you can do it. Before you type out the first word, you have to say to yourself, I can do this. I've never done it before, but yeah, I can do this. Is it better to, again, I would just forget. I love God says, is it better to forgive the narcissist or not? I'm going to tell you the truth. It's better to forgive yourself. Take the energy away from the narcissist. It does no good over there. You're still feeding them. If you call them up and say, I know all the messed up stuff you did to me, but I'm going to forgive you and I never want to speak to you again. They are sitting up there happy as a bed bug in a bed. They are happy as hell because you just gave them supply. Because you're telling them, I still matter to you. Forget them. Give that grace to yourself. Stop blaming yourself for loving them. You did what most normal human beings would do. Me, be me. What's going on? Thank you for joining. I appreciate you. You did what human beings are supposed to do. You find someone, this person makes you happy. Okay, I love God. I'm going to tell you this. Join the community. If you're serious about this, join the community. That's all I can say to you. You know, I think I did forgive them, but they still don't let. That would mean closure. That would mean closure. At what point do you think this person is going to give you closure? Honestly, let's be honest here. Has anybody here gotten closure from their narcissist after the discard? Whether you left or they left, did you sit down, have a cup of coffee in a safe location, sit down and discuss what went wrong in the relationship? This is part of their pattern. This is what they do. Stop. It's potential. It's hope. It's hope that they can be a rational, functional human being instead of a parasitic virus demon. That's what you think. You keep on superimposing normalcy on a person with a daughter. In the Narc's nightmare, you're correct. They will bring you confusion. This is what they live for. Isaac B says, trying to use my daughter against me. Welcome to the party, bro. So let me explain this to those that may have just been joining me. This is something that I always feel that I need to explain, especially people going through that dynamic. Okay? Narcissists do not see people as people. They see people as constructs. And then that breaks down to, are you of use or are you not of use? Okay? Notice that I said all people. I didn't separate. I didn't say mother, father, brother, sister, son, daughter, grandson, niece, nephew. They care about no one. The only thing that matters to them is their mask. So, can this child help protect my mask? Can this child help me punish someone who has caused me a narcissistic injury? Can this child be of use for helping me look like I'm a good parent? That's all they care about. Nothing more, nothing less. This is where we get the black sheep of the family, because the black sheep of the family is usually the one that doesn't go along with the BS. They don't want parts of the toxicity. They don't want to play this game. That's the child that says, well, why can't we talk to mommy or daddy? Well, you're not going to follow what I said? Oh, no, you're going to be punished. Because you're not helping me punish mommy or daddy. Again, stop looking at these people, these demons, as regular functional human beings. Psychology has told us physiologically they change. Certain parts of their brain shrink and certain parts of their brain expand. And all of that energy, all that, hey, what's up, Ike? What's going on, bro? Ain't seen you in a second, man. It's like these are the things that we have to remember, because I think we're pushing or superimposing how we expect. Again, ego edging God out, because God is telling us this is a demon. God is showing us almost every day, this is a freaking demon. So we're edging God out and we're thinking that we know better, when it's literally on paper that these are demons. Literally on paper. Someone point me in the direction of a person that's hey, Dina, what's going on? Somebody point me in the direction of a healed, cured narcissist, because I need to sit down and have a long conversation with them. And I bet, just one, tell me, give me their account. Yeah, I'll invite them on right now. Please, somebody. Just tell me one person that you've seen on any social media platform that is literally Literally, a healed narcissist. They will repeat this pattern for their whole life. They may become self aware and understand why they're doing it, but they're still going to do it. They're still going to do it. Yes, what's up, Dina Mina? How's everything going? I got to clap for you again. Dina Mina did the big thing. She took the big step. She made the big, beautiful bill. She freed herself. She made the decision to free herself. See, that's where healing becomes serious when you make that choice, you make that decision, and it's hard. But see, how hard is it really? Because you've been betting all of this hope and potential on this demon, but you don't have enough belief in hope and potential in yourself that you can break free. Oh, you can do it once you make the decision. You can definitely do it once you make the decision. Going very well. So much peace in my new home. Congratulations. That's making me a little bit misty eyed because I know what it feels like to understand. Might not be what you're feeling, but I know what it feels like to understand that you're free. You're free. And you know what? It's the wonderful thing. It's like being a child. I think I told this story. I used to get up Saturday mornings with my younger brother. And we just wanted to get out the house. So we used to do this thing that we called the Great Adventure. And we would just walk around our neighborhood, places we've never walked around before, never seen before. And we just walk around, always figured out, paid attention to streets and stuff like that. It was a different world back then when I was little. Well, we just walked around and we just discovered new things. And once you break free from this narcissistic dynamic, that thing, that inner child, that inner empath comes out of you, and the world becomes a place worthy of discovery. You become worthy of discovery because all of the things that you used to do that bring you joy, you stop doing because why? You knew deep down inside, even though you had potential that this person was coming back, you knew deep down inside that anything that you did that brought you joy made them angry and made them feel a need that they had to punish you. Because they can't understand the concept of love. All they understand is I need to be validated constantly. If you're enjoying what you're doing, if you're having fun doing this thing, you're not paying attention to me. That's not part of the script. You've got to be punished. So now you get to discover yourself. I did something today that I have not done. I used to do it in the beginning when I first met them. There's this thing when I'm like deep into work. Oh my God, I've got so many people I've got to schedule for real talk. Thank you so much for the heart, Narcastic. I've got so much people I have to schedule and kind of vet, because there's a lot of people out there on FB that's, but I have to vet them, for real talk no other way. So that's coming together. That is coming together. I have a couple of people in here that want to take part in it. It's good. I just got to get through 3 episodes to reach my goal, keep my word, and hold myself accountable. So while I was busy today, it's hot, didn't want to be outside. I did something that I used to do. Back in the day, I would watch anime or action movies, turn the volume down on the action movie, and listen to house music. That's like my workflow thing. It really is. And when I decided to do it, I was like, I have not done this in years. And I got a lot done today. But it was the part that I rediscovered a part of myself that I subjugated and pushed down. See, that's what the narcissistic dynamic does to you because you're so busy feeding hope and potential into this person that you forget about yourself. You forget about the person that you are. And yes, I love that Dina Mina. She says her kids are happier. See, the narcissist, oh my God, I wanted so much to talk, and I'm not angry. What I'm angry about is that so many of us find a need as fully functional, grown, caring adults, feel a need to escape a demon. Who would want that in their life? Who wakes up in the morning and says, you know what? Life is kind of boring. You look through the paper and say, oh, they got skydiving trips. Eh. They have cliff diving trips. Yeah. Let me go find a narcissist and just make my life utter and completely hell. Nobody does that. And it saddens me and it angers me that there are so many people that have to heal based on the principle that 6% of the world, and that's a low number because they never go get diagnosed because they feel that there's nothing wrong with them. Everything is wrong with everybody else. They do this batshit vampire stuff to everybody, but they feel that they're normal and everybody else is crazy. You know, there's 6% of them, rough guesstimate. 30% of the world, rough guesstimate, are empaths. How are these damn demons going? You think that we would just be able to overrun them, stomp them, and get it over with. But we can't because the way we're built for love. We're built for hope. We're built for potential. We're literally built to care. And that, I mean, you look at it as a downfall, but I'm going to tell you a secret. Is something that I came to realize is that once you heal, once you give up thinking about them in the way that you used to think about them, once you start focusing that energy on yourself, that actually amplifies. It does. It becomes stronger. I look at it as my light. You know, I do. I look at it as my light because I am more understanding of people that don't kick off my narcissist radar. Oh, that's the other gift you get. You once you heal, you'll never get trapped in this ish again. You know, I wish I would have did this with the first one and really healed and did all the steps and everything else. Then I wouldn't have ended up with the third one. You know, but now that I feel that I'm healed, like I said, that thing that I did today, I was like, wow, you haven't done this in a while. And I'm having a good time. Having a real good time. Because that was a part of me that got eroded away in that situationship. See, the narcissist hates you because if you haven't latched on to the fact that you're an empath, they see that you are, they know that you are, and they see your real potential. They've got to destroy that. Because do you know what your potential equates to? That equates to your light, your authentic self, the person that you are when nobody's looking. You know who that person is. You're not a demonic person. You don't want to hurt people. You kind of want the best for everyone because you understand, hey, listen, if that person is doing better, hey, at the very least, it'll inspire me to do better. But you know what? They might inspire somebody else. That's how we think. And that is our light. That's why the community exists. Because I need all that. Like the narcissist, once you decide that you're going to heal, what happens is that ember, that little orange ember that's inside of you, something starts fanning it. Once you decide, I'm going to heal, I'm not going to go through this anymore, I'm tired of this, I don't want to deal with this anymore, it starts growing. It starts growing. And as you go through each stage, as you go through each step, you become more powerful. You become more balanced. And many of you will start doing what I do. Many of you will reach out to help others because we can sense it. We could just be sitting at a office party and here be like, that's a straight up narcissist. I wonder how I'm going to help this person get out of this dynamic. This is what we become. We become we were always the healers. We were always the fixers. The narcissists just didn't want us to see that. That's why they work so hard to try to destroy your confidence. That's why they work so hard to make sure that you never got to win. And every time, I mean, I look at all of mine, I'm like, well, what are you doing now? Show me something. Show me something. There was a time in the middle of my healing where I was like, can you show me something? So I could actually think that all that potential wasn't a waste. Show me something that in the beginning, those things that you made me believe that were about you really did exist. Out of the 100 things, can you show me one of them? That falls back into closure. It's not going to happen. So you have to decide, because this is why we get trapped. This is when it gets powerful, because most survivors aren't attached to reality. They're attached to possibility. They're attached to the future apology. They are attached to the future change. They are attached to the future breakthrough. They are attached to the future of the relationship. That's what we become attached to. We fall in love with tomorrow, not today. What's not what's happening today, not what's happening now. We bank it all on tomorrow. We put all of our hope into tomorrow. The last week has been hell. The last month has been the pathway to hell. The last year has been, I don't know who I am. But we're still banking on tomorrow. Why? Why? It's crazy. So literally, you're going to fall in love with tomorrow while you suffer now. That's why this whole stop rewriting reality is so important to me, because I knew this was the integral part to me healing. Giving up the fact that this person was literally nothing. In fact, I had been looking at myself the whole time. I wasn't looking at a person. That's where the shift begins. That's when the path becomes just a little bit easier. Oh, I'm not going to say it's going to be completely easy just because you figured that part out, because you knew that part all along. So no, it's not going to be super easy, but it's going to be a little bit easier. It's literally like trying to trap a rabbit in this hole while trying to catch another one and put it in the hole. Take the rabbit that you got. The rabbit that you got is your clarity. Take that and keep it moving. Stop chasing this narcissist that's just sitting up there hopping in front of you, waiting till you get close and then hopping back. Because that's all they're doing to you. That's it. So, were you attached to the relationship or the possibility of the relationship? This is a healing question right here. I'm going to wait. I am going to wait. What's going on over here? Hey, what's up, Libby? Up, Libby. Thank you. Thank you. No, you're good. You're good. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you for joining. Um, I hope you're still around. I don't know. I'm doing this on Restream, so I don't know if the texts go back. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to actually show your comment, and you're probably going, "Oh my God!" I'm going to find you. It should be on my comments, and I'm going to follow you. And I want to thank you for coming. I'm going to actually write you a long letter. I appreciate you. So yeah, this is, like I said, I really do be doing multi streams. It's hard. I spend a lot of time focused here because the phone is right here, the computer's over there. But hold on one second. So you have to ask yourself that question, especially when you're rewriting reality. Are you attached to, the reality of what's going on in a relationship, or the possibility of what it could become? Again, any relationship that's over, I'm just gonna put a year there. Any relationship, a fulfilling relationship that has been in place for a year, you should see some authenticity. I get it. I get it. When you first meet a person, you don't, let's say I did this once. I'm not gonna lie, I did this once. I met this person and they were literally at my house. Okay. And my stomach was cramping up. You know what that means? I had the bubbles of troubles. I don't know what I ate, and it was still early. I'm sitting up there because I really like this person. So I'm sitting up there, I'm like, damn, I gotta use the bathroom. And I knew it was gonna be like the one of those things. And I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And I sat there and I dealt with the pain. I really did deal with the pain. Um, I think I got a little bit of reprieve, and used up almost a whole can of air freshener. They had to run to the store to get something. Um, and they drove. As soon as I heard sort of lights come on, I locked the door, did what I had to do, and was running around the house with lights on. Like, oh my God, you know. But later on, we became authentic with each other. And isn't that the way it plays out? You get to know that person, you get to understand that person, you get to look at things like this is part of life, you know but you never feel that closeness with the narcissist. You don't. There's always something just slightly off where you can't make that full connection because they're deceiving you, they're lying to you, they're gaslighting you. But here you are back at the beginning, looking at the love bombing stage, thinking that, well, they were that way in the beginning. Nobody can keep up the act that long. This demon can. They've been practicing it their whole entire life. The narcissist is usually the one that blames Tommy in class for doing something, knowing that they did it, and their whole goal is to get everybody to believe that Tommy did it. This is how evil they are, and they practice this. They learn more about human nature as demons than humans actually have time to learn about themselves. You know. So here is what potential looks like in a narcissistic dynamic. Okay. The narcissist presents future promises, future plans, future commitment, future transformation, and the relationship becomes fueled by who they might become, not who they consistently are. See, that's part of the problem. We're seeing who they consistently are, basically pieces of ish. We're seeing this, but we're the ones that keep on giving them another chance, that keep on saying we can fix this, that keep on saying they're having a bad day. It's us, it's not them. They're doing what they do on purpose to get the result that they want. They're doing this on purpose. So I don't want to say who's at fault because survivors get blamed for everything being their fault, from the flying monkeys and everybody else that listens to the narcissist. But in a sense, this is why healing is important, because I'm going to tell you something. I hate to switch gears so abruptly, but I'm going to tell you something. I keep on saying that I've dealt with three of these. Until you heal from one of them, you're going to keep on attracting them because you're an empath. Many people that I've spoken to, they make little comments like, yeah, even my boss acts that way, or my supervisor acts that way. It's because you're attracting narcissists. They see your light. They literally see your light. And we tend to ignore it, especially if we're in our narcissistic dynamic in our home, because what our narcissist that we sleep next to does to us, I mean, there would be so many calls to HR if, your boss or your supervisor, your director could get away with it. Um, we find them in churches. We find them sometimes in our friend groups because we become the flame that the moths, or in this case, the demons, are attracted to, because our light, and they all have this same thing. We've got to dim their light. Our light, our authenticity, the people that we are, does nothing but bring shame to them. That's why they have to destroy us. That's why they sabotage you. That's why they can't stand you to have a win, because what's happening is, in their minds, you're causing them an injury. You can't feel superior over someone if that person is winning. And a normal dynamic with a normal human being in a normal relationship, a win is a combined win, not in a narcissistic relationship. A win is actually you stabbing them in the back. How dare you win? How dare you accomplish something? How dare you do something? And even people around them will start to notice this. Even their flying monkeys will start to notice. The narcissist cannot suffer somebody else having a win in front of them. They might, because they need to protect their mask, they might address it differently, but you'll get the slight darts, the slight dismissive tone, the slight, oh, well, you've always been doing that stuff all your life. They're not going to celebrate your win, no matter what label you've inserted into their life, whether that be their mate, their friend, their day one, their mother, their father. They're never going to suffer someone else getting a win, because that causes an injury to them. They punish, but everybody else, remember that mask. That's job number one. It's got to be protected. So they do it in a manipulative way. But people start to see through this. That is the narcissist karma. The narcissist literally thinks everybody's stupid. They do, in their mind. I mean, out of all the narcissists I dealt with, one of the things that held true was everybody that they knew was stupid. They were the smartest camper on the block. And I'm here to tell you that all three of them, they were not the brightest color in the box. They weren't. But if you listen to those victim stories, everybody was stupid. Everybody wasn't worth the oxygen that they breathed in. It came to the point where one time I had to stop them because they're trying to be super intelligent about something. And in front of my young children saying, do you know that toilet water is the safest water to drink? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you say that in front of a child? A toddler even. Why would you say that? So the way I put it into that is like, well, show me. Go get a cup and drink some. This is the mentality that you're dealing with. Again, no common sense. No rational thought. Did you think I was going to drink it? Or would it have been something that we could have said, oh, I didn't mean it? So the easiest way to prove that point is go get a cup and get you some. Go get a cup and get you some. That conversation ended. So we're not dealing, again, we have to stop superimposing normal, functional, rational human being on this demon. They're not normal, they're not functional, and they're not rational. Their very identity is so fractured that they don't even know who they are. They're literally a jigsaw puzzle of everybody that they've run into. That's it. There's nothing authentic, and that's why your light hurts them to their very core. It destroys them. Because as long as you're shining, they're not the center of attention. Even if your shine is beneficial to them. All they see is, I'm not superior. I'm not the center of their attention. Everybody's not fawning over me. If you've ever been to a dinner party or a work event and had one of your supervisors, this happened a lot with my first narcissist. I used to take them to my jobs, especially jobs that I was just like spiraling through the ranks. Um, And anytime, I guess, your directors are going to be nice. They see you there with your spouse. They're going to be nice. Oh, you're married to this guy. Oh my God. You know, he does such a great job. I know he keeps everything in order in the home. This and that, and would literally downplay what that person was saying. We're not saying the normal, regular, socially acceptable stuff like, oh, I know, yes, I know. Yeah, that Lou, he's a great guy. They're not going to do that. Oh, really? He's like that at work? Because they can't see you have a win. They can't see another person giving you praise, giving you kudos, because they feel that they should always be the recipient of that, whether they put in the work or not. That comes as criterion number four, a sense of entitlement. I'm at mental hospital because of narcissist and my parents kicked me out from it. Wow. Wow. Well, you know what? You might take this the wrong way. I would utilize that time to talk to a mental health professional. Sometimes our higher power puts us in situations that are necessary. It's almost like the test before the lesson. So it's the test before the lesson. I think I went through three of these situations because first two, I didn't learn my lesson. I didn't learn what I was supposed to do to pass the test. And look at this guy now, flying colors, walking around with a star on my forehead. Not proud of it. I would have liked any other test. I would have liked any other trial or tribulation besides this. But I think of the story, one of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Moses. And one of the things, those that know, one of the things was when Moses was approached and was told, listen, I need you to do this. Okay, I'm putting it in just like regular speak. Yo, Moses, check this out. Come here. Burning bush talking dude. Come here. I need to talk to you for a second. You see those people over there? I need you to go out there and free them. Moses, that man copped so many pleas, y'all. I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I've never done anything like this before. Why would you have me do this? There are so many people. You got the whole world. You can pick somebody better than this. I got a few names I can drop them. I know for a fact that these cats would be better at getting these people free. Then the bush turned around and was like, nah, it's not how it's going to work. I need you to do it because I know that you can do it. He still didn't want to do it. He spent a little while at copping pleas saying why he shouldn't be the one, but finally he decided that, well, if God sees the potential in me, there must be something inside of me. And he was a little fearful of what he was doing. He was getting memos back and forth. I need you to do this. And if they do this, I need you to do this. Okay, so he was still getting help, but it was the potential. And he said to himself, if God saw the potential in me to do this, I might as well go out there and do it. That's what healing is about. Sometimes, and I'm not saying all the time, sometimes as empaths, we are put in these situations. We are given these trials and tribulations. We are given these things to figure out with no previous practice, no source books, no guides, no nothing. We are sent out there and we're like, we got to figure this out. Because God, Allah, whatever your higher power is, has decided that, hey, listen, I didn't put you here because I had nothing better to do on Tuesday. I need you to go out there and do something. And in order for you to get that thing done, I am going to have to take out the things that might keep you from doing what it is that I need you to do. I've got to make you more resilient. So sometimes we go through what I like to call now trial and tribulation boot camp. Okay, that thing, because that's what boot camp at its base level, that's what it is. To take out all of the things that really don't serve the mission, that don't serve the purpose, and sometimes even don't serve you. That needs to be taken out. They got different ways of doing it. They make you do things that you've never done before. They train you on how to adapt to certain situations that you never thought was even possible. How do people wake up and think like this? Sometimes the narcissist is put in front of the empath to actually bring out your strength, to bring out the person that you were meant to be. Never think, even the narcissist is put here for a reason. Nothing is done by accident. So yes, many of us, many empaths, they get laid down by the side of the road, never to join into the fray, never to join into the battle. I get that, and that saddens me. But there are many empaths right now that are being forged in the fire. And that fire, thank you, Black Madonna, for the follow. I appreciate you. That fire is meant to burn out all the things that made you weak. That fire is meant to sharpen you. And when that fire has passed through you, your purpose becomes so clear. You begin to say to yourself, why didn't I see this sooner? Because sometimes we've got to be put in these bad-ish, crazy situations. Just like Moses was. He didn't wake up in the morning and thought that was the plan for the day. But that's what he needed to do. And look what he did. He started doing stuff on his own. He was getting memos, but not as frequent. He started doing stuff on his own. Because all the unsurety, all the lack of confidence, God burnt out of him. And sometimes that's what the narcissist does. It shows us how important that we are. Once we heal, we start to realize just how important we are. We see the greatness in being authentic, because after the narcissist leaves us and gets the hell out of our life, we start feeding into ourselves. Once we heal, hey, here comes the confidence. That thing that was missing, like literally a day after I met them. We start working on that. We start rebuilding, and then we start doing great things. 5 years ago, I would never thought that I would have a nonprofit. I never thought that the Now movement would exist. I never thought that I would have so many resources. I never thought that I would have a community. I never thought that I would be putting a show on Amazon Prime, okay, based on narcissism. Never thought. Never woke up. And if somebody would have told me a few years ago, hey, listen, this is what I'm going to do, okay, uh, I probably would have said, nah, that doesn't sound like something I want to do. And I think that mindset is what allowed me to do the things that I do now. And I sleep good at night. I do. I do. And I wake up once again with that childlike curiosity of what can I do today? Instead of just waking up and walking on eggshells. That's a different feeling. That's a good feeling. That feels good inside when you can say, what exciting adventure. Or as me and my little brother would say, what's the great adventure for today? Where are we going today? What are we doing today? I think growing up in New York City, I had this strange, crazy thing. Anybody that's lived in New York or traveled to New York and has taken the subway system, there's this little thing that I truly believe. There's an adventure to be had in every train car. Some days it's good, some days it's bad. You don't know. But in New York City, trains are usually about any place from 8 to 12 car lengths, depending on the time of day, meaning rush hour or not rush hour. Okay. Going to work, it didn't matter where the staircase was, where I needed to get off at, but going to work, I would actually walk up and down the platform on my first train and try to figure out what car I was going to sit in, because every car had the potential to be a new adventure. And again, it could be a good adventure, it could be a bad adventure. I might get robbed. I don't know. But it was something different. It was something exciting. It was something literally to look forward to. You might see the dancers, somebody might start playing the guitar, somebody might start singing, you might meet somebody that's they're not all there talking to themselves. Every once in a while you see the people that have like fleas and bed bugs on them, but you never know. You never know. And that's what healing soon becomes. The excitement of finding out. the excitement of finding out what possibilities the world offers us. And this is something that we lost when we're in that narcissistic dynamic. We lost, and you have to admit it. That child, that inner child that we all have, especially empaths, we all have that inner child. That little thing that sometimes we're like, yeah, I can't tell anybody, you know. So yeah, let's see, because I'm gonna, I just want to finish this out because I have to work on scheduling. So I think we covered everything. I took notes, but I was all over the place because I typed out the notes. Um, but yeah, as far as you're concerned, I love God. Like I said, just go ahead and look in my bio. There's every question that you have answered me. There's actually an answer in the community to help you get through it. It really is. You know, I built it. I took weeks building that to make sure that I covered as many things as possible. Usually, the things that I went through that I struggled with. There's audio, there's everything in there. You know, there's video modules, there's workbooks. You know, the newest thing is the narcissistic relationship decoder, that thing that's behind me, which is very good for communication. And by the way, being part of the community, you actually get that uh, completely free. But if you go to Gumroad, it's going to cost you $49. It really is. But this is what I'm talking about. This is how serious healing is, because if you join the community, you're telling me that you're serious about your healing. Okay. Like I said, we can get on these lives until the cows come home, and the chances of your specific thing being addressed and answers, it's slim to none. It's a great source of information. I like doing lives. I like watching other people's lives. I think it's a great source of information. It's a great help. But our demons, even though they follow the same pattern, they all are slightly different. And even though we're all empaths, you know, we being authentic are slightly different. So there can be like a slight change in what's going on in your life. Again, I'm not going back when I said narcissists for the rest of their life follow the same patterns. Okay, there's no way they break it. Again, that's why I asked earlier, can someone give me the page of that cured narcissist so that I can actually go see what's going on? Because in my mind, narcissists will keep on doing the same three things. You know, there has been no proof since Carl Jung that they change. You know, I don't think I'm trying to recant everything that I've read, watched, or seen about Carl Jung. I don't even think that he says that the empath can heal. He never says that the one that abuses the narcissist can. I mean, that abuses the empath can heal. He never used the word narcissist. Um, he just said the evil person that. I wish he would have said virus. I think he could have saved a lot of words if he just said virus, because to me that's what they are. But yeah, so check out the community. The link is in my bio. If you notice, the last few lives, I don't even put up my courses. The reason being is because if you become part of the community, you'll see that courses actually get trickled in to the ecosystem that is the community. Right now, I have parts 1, 2, and 3 of Break the Trauma Bond in 7 steps. Um, and the whole narcissistic relationship decoder, you know, including the videos, the customized GPT, and the workbook, they're sitting in there right now. So join the community, or I'm not going to stop you from spending the $49. You can go to Gumroad and get it, but you know, that's on you. I would just join the community, basically. With that being said, I want to thank all of you. We go live in the community. I no longer do community lives like multi-stream. They're strictly in the community. So we go live, I believe, Saturday at 1 p.m. Hold on 1 second. Let me just look it up since I got the computer right in front of me. Hopefully you guys will join the community so you can join this. This is more like deep dives and teaching concepts. It's not a loose conversation. It's a more structured conversation. So tomorrow, I'm looking at the calendar because I'm booked up for like the whole year. So the calendar shows, what's tomorrow? Tomorrow's the 6th. So tomorrow is the open healing room, which will be actually be very good for you. I love God. I think that would actually work for you. The open healing room. So that's tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So I want to thank you guys all for joining. I definitely appreciate you. Hopefully you walked away with something useful. That's always what I try to do. And I want you to use this as the necessary springboard to start your journey into healing. Thank you so much, me being. Oh, thank you for the rose. Thank you so much. Go ahead and join the community. See you tomorrow at 1 p.m. in the community. I don't think I go live again here until next Friday for Forget the Narcissist Friday. So I'll see you guys over in the community. Have a great night. Enjoy your weekend and get the damn thing done. Get to healing. All right. Have a great night, everyone. And it never lets me get off. There we go. And it still won't end. There it goes.